Jesus is Lord. And he was such a nice Jewish boy. Jesus changed my life, and he's still in the life-changing business. I believe in the divinity of Christ. I believe in the accuracy of the Hebrew Scriptures. I'm convinced that Moses and the ancient Jewish prophets pointed to Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Messiah. Jesus died to save sinners, and you are a sinner. Shalom, and thanks for joining me here at CrossTalk. My name is Randy Weiss, and I'm a Jewish believer in Jesus. I greeted you with a typical Jewish welcome. As many of you probably know, shalom means hello. It also means peace, and peace is what I wish for you, because the world suffers from a severe peace deficiency. Peace is a most sought-after commodity. In Israel, some are even willing to trade land for peace. As I have often said, if you want to know how land for peace deals work, just ask the American Indians. But unlike the decimated Native Americans, even if Israel gave 99% of their land to the Arabs, they would neither have peace nor a casino, because our enemies don't want 99%. The terrorist partners negotiating for peace will take what they can easily get, but easy or hard, they will not settle for less than 100%. The enemies of Israel want the Jews out of the region. Land trades will not bring lasting peace, and Israel's enemies will not rest until the Jews are laid to rest in peace. And then the terrorist factions will simply return to killing each other. The plan for peace is doomed. Hatred and violence rarely blossom into love and kindness without the Spirit of God. Unfortunately, the Prince of Peace seems to be unwelcome at the negotiating table. Well, I have news for everybody. Jesus is coming soon, and when he returns, the movers and shakers will move and shake. They will run and hide, but they will soon learn you can run, but you cannot hide from the Spirit of God or the Lamb, who will come as lion to judge this unrepentant, wicked world system. Like I said when I opened, shalom. Peace remains my prayer for you. It may be the most needed, yet undervalued commodity on earth. Everyone wants peace. People pursue it in so many ineffective ways. You know, tranquilizers have become a multi-billion-dollar industry. Before I knew the Lord of Peace, I used to beg, borrow, pop, smoke, snort, and even sell peace through the illusion of drugs. Peace is elusive. But through faith, I have learned that it does not need to remain an illusion. When I was a young man, peace was a byword. Instead of shalom, we greeted one another with the peace sign, and we wore peace symbols around our necks. Surprisingly, the system we hated in the 60s has become quite desirable to many of my aging hippie peers. Many traded in one peace sign for another. Instead of carrying signs, wearing sandals and beads, most of us carry grudges in business suits and bling. Well, things change, times change, people change, but God does not change. You know, I can tell you one thing with certainty. I changed. From 1965, when my innocent slide to destruction began, it did not end until bad went to worse and finally to near destruction. And then Jesus changed my life, and I'm blessed to be able to tell you that God is still in the life-changing business. I think the most drastic change came in my family. My wife and I eloped in January of 1973. Actually, we tried to get married in a Minnesota snowstorm, but the preacher wasn't home, and that's a story for another time. I remember telling my young wife that we were never going to have children. I was thoroughly convinced that the world was just, well, too rotten to raise kids. My young bride smiled, and we went on with life. Well, I promise you that the world has not gotten any better since then. In the scope of world confusion, the planet looks like a circus with the clowns running the production. Now, I may be a little harsh, but a lot of news reports seem to be a documentary of nutcases on parade. Correct me if I'm wrong, but society has gotten more technologically sophisticated, but far more wicked at the core. Yes, things do change. They tend to get worse. Cars rust, people age, stuff happens. I vowed to never raise kids in a place like this. Then we got saved, and God gave us 6 children. My smiling young bride is now a smiling young grandmother. Ain't God good? My wife took off on a honeymoon with a drug-pushing rock musician and found herself married to a fanatic Jesus freak. Then decades later, we can now look back and testify, yes, God is good all the time. My family is the second most important thing in my life. And as long as God is first, everything in life will work out. Now, if you're having some problems in your life or family, perhaps something is out of chronological order. If you can hang with me for a moment, I have a song that might help you sort it all out. Please stay tuned.